Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and there are no days off. As you can tell, I'm in my douche getup right now, okay? This is what we're going to call it. I'm coming home from the gym. I'm feeling pretty good. Today was a day off. I pull into my driveway, check my phone. Yo, Matty, new Starfield info? I'm like, pull it in reverse. We're going back to the studio, all right? It's time to work. I'm excited because I'm thirsty. Any information on Starfield is nice to see. Today, for those who are interested in a deeper dive in Starfield, we have some information on locations that we have seen through concept art. It comes with commentary through design director Emil Pagliarulo, who's been a long-standing Bethesda Game Studios member. Not only that, these videos were uploaded like 3 weeks ago, and they were just sitting on Bethesda Game Studios' YouTube channel, and then they decided to link them all and send them out via an email. So now, for those who care about the universe of Starfield and want every scrap of information, this video is for you. Otherwise, I don't know how much people are going to be into this, but I still thought it was worth talking about because Starfield will be relatively dry for probably the next 8 months until we start getting closer to E3, and then we'll see how Bethesda and Xbox planned to handle things. But if you're new here and you're looking for more Starfield coverage, Bethesda coverage, all that good stuff, you're in the right place. Be sure to consider subscribing. And with that, let's get into everything that we have learned about Starfield. So there were 3 planets that we got insight on. The first one we're going to talk about is called Aquila, or they call it Aquila City. Keep this in mind. We're going to talk about the nature of the descriptions of the planets because they're talking about the cities in these spaces. We still don't know the true scope of the game yet. And if you're just going to land on planets, almost like No Man's Sky, that's been the comparison. We have yet to see what that's going to be like. But here's how Aquila City is described. It is the capital of the Free Star Collective, which is defined as a loose confederation of 3 star systems, which gives us our first indication that Starfield will be across multiple star systems, although it was assumed. This is our first verbal confirmation of that. This specific city, Aquila, believes in the sanctity of personal freedom and individuality. Now, they do mention what happens when you step out of the city walls means that you're going to be facing something called an Ashta, which is defined as an alien predator crossed between a wolf and a velociraptor. This is a city I'm very much excited to explore out of all of them so far that we've seen, at least, because it's got that Tatooine vibe to it, right? You can just tell by looking at it that they've been really looking at Star Wars for this game. But let's keep going because once again, they go back to this city description. So next up is Neon. Neon is defined as a pleasure city. This was another one that caught a lot of Starfield fans' eyes. They say that the Xenofresh Corporation built this giant fishing platform on an otherwise lacking aquatic planet. For that, I can't help but think of something like Camino, where it would just be this big aquatic planet, and then all of a sudden there are these big platforms that are built in. It's this place where clone troopers are produced. I think that was a clear inspiration for this planet. Maybe I'm just a Star Wars freak this week. I don't know. I've been playing a lot of the Old Republic. Anyway, let's keep going. This fishing platform was built to, you guessed it, catch fish. But then they discovered a fish with psychotropic properties, which meant that this would develop a drug that would affect the behavior, the mood, the thoughts of the user. And they felt that this was a way to make more money compared to selling a fish. The drug in reference is called Aurora, and it is only legal in this specific city where people from all over are traveling to Neon like it's some type of attraction for tourists and experiencing it alongside everything else the city offers. I think if anything's going to be that melding of like cyberpunk feeling, you know, where it's just this city that's constantly having a party, while maybe channeling some of that missed opportunity from the memory den together, this fusion is right here on this planet, I feel. I still get a little bit bothered every time I think of the trips that you could have gone on in something like the memory den in Fallout 4. And I think here with this trippy drug, I hope that Bethesda sees the opportunity that's being created here to do some fun things. Of course, in Fallout, there's a little more opportunity in the terms of location and memories and digging into characters. But with this, I hope there is something deeply connected to it because it is so important that the only information we have on this planet has been that this drug is a center point to it. So much so that people, including your character, I'm guessing, are traveling all over to see what it's about. So I really do hope they take full advantage of that. The third and final planet that we learned about was New Atlantis. They say this specific image is of a spaceport of the city of New Atlantis. New Atlantis is the capital city of the United Colonies. And the United Colonies is described as the most powerful established military and political faction in the game. The city is referred to as a melting pot for all different kinds of races. So this will be a place where we're going to see pretty much, I would imagine, every single race that's available in the game. Not only that, but it was designed to be a true reflection of what the future of our world looks like many years from now. So that, to me, speaks of a grounding in reality to some extent. But I think the most interesting part of all of this is the various sectors of the star system in Starfield. The name, right? So we're hearing about the United Colonies. We're hearing about this confederation that really loves its independence, its individuality. Meanwhile, we have the United Colonies, which is more established, more militaristic. It's more heavy-handed, it sounds like. And I feel like maybe this could be the factions that you could join up with, you can line up with, right? I don't know if there will be guilds, for example, something like Oblivion, where that was a major storytelling pillar for the game. Or are these going to be, for example, the Brotherhood of Steel of Starfield? I mean, I'm trying to draw all of these parallels, but what I really want to drive into here is the design of it. Now, we can only speculate. We have so little to work with here, but I still think the talking points are valid, which is cities. They mention cities each and every single time, and we don't really know the scope of these planets yet, but it's interesting that in each of these pieces of concept art, they have spotlighted a city and then described it, and I'm wondering how open the exploration will be in Starfield, because we already knew, yeah, you're going to go to multiple planets. Yes, there will be alien races, and we're seeing each of them are clearly distinct and different, at least on paper. We'll see how it's truly executed within the game itself. But I think a lot of people were expecting, with this being a next generation only title, Creation Engine 2.0, people were thinking to themselves, okay, this is going to be a game where, like No Man's Sky, get in my ship, take off, into the stars I go, then land on another planet. No problem, no loading screens, nothing whatsoever. And I'm wondering how expansive all of these planets will be. Or will it be you get into your ship and your ship's almost a hub, and kind of like, say, the Outer Worlds, you select a map and you can go to all these planets and you land on a specific city within that planet? Or will certain planets be procedurally generated on a terrain level, and then you'll have cities that are handcrafted and caves and dungeons, all that good stuff that's handcrafted amidst the procedurally generated terrain, kind of like what they did with Oblivion again. I feel like that's the biggest comparison we can make currently from what we're hearing with the technology leap and the way that they may have to make this game to make sense of certain design decisions. We'll see in due time. But the other talking point I did want to get into here is the difference in Bethesda Game Studios' marketing compared to other titles. To me, it was surprising to see this. Bethesda Game Studios does not talk this much. They do not. The fact that we had a Starfield trailer, Starfield behind the scenes trailers on top of that, developer interviews, and then we're getting this as well. I mean, of course it's a new IP, so they have to approach it a little bit differently, but I'm surprised at the level of communication here. And I don't know if it's an impact with Xbox where they like to give updates on things. I don't know if it's because it's one of the biggest exclusives coming to Xbox that they feel they need to really continue to hammer home, this is a thing, it exists, it's coming, and it doesn't fall off the map like, say, a Perfect Dark, where it's like, hey, see ya. Same thing with Fable, hi, see you later. I'm thinking maybe they're trying to avoid that, but as a longtime Bethesda Game Studios follower, they are doing things much differently this time around, especially because we just had QuakeCon, we just had Gamescom, and I'm not saying that this deserves stage time, but it's just interesting that Bethesda is still talking even when there's clearly other news happening, right? We finally got Halo's release date. We finally saw Crossfire X. We saw more of Forza, more of Age of Empires. Like, there are more important pressing things happening right now, especially this week. I found it a little bit startling that Bethesda was there talking about this game and giving fans like myself, who have been just looking for any bit of information on Starfield, some more information. Unfortunately, none of this information really keys us in on the biggest mystery about Starfield, which is that key that your character seemingly is looking for. We had a whole breakdown on that piece of paper that many Starfield fans are trying to figure out. And while we're slowly getting context clues about the universe, we aren't there yet where we know enough. And I'm imagining if Bethesda's smart with marketing this, we shouldn't know until we play and complete the game. But we're going to look for every shred of information that we have. Because, I mean, just think of how they marketed Fallout 4. Remember that nuke that went off at the end of the trail and everyone thought that we were going to get a side quest line, like the 10 Penny Tower one? I remember that. And then you get to the end of Fallout 4. So hopefully they're smarter this time around. But at this point, I feel like I'm rambling a little bit. But I'm just pretty excited about what Bethesda Game Studios is doing. And I hope they continue to communicate, because this is a new IP. It's not like Fallout. It's not like Elder Scrolls where I know what to expect. We're still figuring out how the game is even going to be presented, what starship travel is going to look like, and all that good stuff. So I'm really looking forward to learning more, and I'm wondering, how are you feeling about the new planets that we have learned about in this video, alongside faction details, all that good stuff. So fire away. I'm looking forward to seeing your thoughts in the comments down below. Other than that, be sure to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you, as always, to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support every bit of content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.